Hey guys, welcome to my homeowner series that I'm kind of working on. That way, you guys get some information about once a month is the goal. So hopefully, it lines up with the monthly digest. Again, with HomeBot, and just seeing how your values are doing. So today we're going to be walking you through what a refinance is. So yes, I can help you with the refinance. So you definitely can reach out to me if you have any questions in regards to making sure the numbers make sense. Because sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's a lot of marketing and stuff like that. You'll get mailers at your probably 5 or 6 around your first or sixth mortgage payment. You're probably going to get a lot of mail in regards to refinancing and all that stuff. They'll put some mailing in there saying you have these equity reserves. They're just trying to get you to catch our refinance, and if it's less than 20 grand, honestly, it's not worth it. So if you guys get these mailings and are interested in running the numbers, I'm more than happy to do that for you. So just reach out to us, and our team will get you set up, and we'll walk you through the numbers to make sure it all makes sense. So refinancing, when would you want to do it, and what is it actually? So refinancing is essentially buying your house all over again. But the terms of the loan would make your finances a lot better is the goal. So there's one type called the cash out refinance. So let's say you bought a $400,000 house, and now your house is worth 500. So what you can do is take out a bigger loan of let's say $500,000, and you only owe $300,000 left on your house, right? So that means you cashed out $150,000, $125,000 with a bigger mortgage. Yes, your mortgage payment does go up. I do need to be very clear about that. But what you can do with that 120, 150K, so to speak, is you can apply it toward debt payoff where your total finances are improved. So even though your mortgage payment went up, because it's put over 30 years, if you consolidate all this debt, you can actually save a lot of money over years that you could free up a lot more cash flow. Also, you can use this money toward home improvements, college, buying a helicopter, whatever you want to do, right? But I always try to recommend, if you have debt, pay it off, and then whatever's left, I had some clients actually the last couple of years who took some of that money and put it into an investment account. That way they had something to sit on for a while, because right now getting that kind of money is really, really cheap right now. Compared to getting like a personal loan or trying to save up is going to be a long time. So if you can get like 20 or 30 grand out that you can put on set aside and put in an investment account where the interest earned is going to be higher than what interest that you pay, it's usually a pretty good deal. So let me walk you through an example in regards to how those numbers play out. So I have an example of a client that I'm working with right now. And right now they are, let me see if I can zoom in. So right now their existing mortgage payment is about $1,800. The installments have to do with what's called loan payments, car loans, auto loans, student loans, things like that. Revolving are all the credit card payments, right? So what we did was we did some math, and even with interest rates being a lot higher now than when they bought, if they consolidated all the highlighted debts, they actually saved themselves about $1,600 to $1,700 a month by reconsolidating all their debt into a mortgage. So what can you do with an extra $1,700 a month? It's a lot of money, even with a higher mortgage payment. Even it breaks it down up here is that, yes, their mortgage payment is going to go up by almost $1,100. But if you look at how much they're saving overall in their monthly finances combined, they're only paying $3,100 versus $4,800 a month. That's a lot of money, guys. That's a lot of free up cash, even at a higher interest rate where it is right now. And guess what? It rolls into my next point in regards to be able to do another type of refinance called a streamline. So when rates go down, there's another type of refinance that you can utilize called the streamline. If you're in a VA loan, it's called a VA streamline loan. If you're conventional, it doesn't exist except something called a rate and term. But you can refinance just to have a lower interest rate, which is really great because it'll save you quite a bit of money. So for this client, they consolidated all their debt, and they even talked about taking some money out to do improvements or whatever they can do. It all depends on the equity of the home or the appraisal value. So if the appraisal value is lower, then you can only take whatever is remaining between the value and what's left out. So everything is dependent on the appraisal, but if you guys have been receiving my HomeBot emails, the monthly digest, you'll see how much equity you'll have. Obviously, you'll have closing costs, but it gets rolled into the loan. just like any refinance. At least that's our goal. There is some money you can pay out of pocket, but for the most part, if you can roll it into your loan, it doesn't really save you that much money over a long period of time based on how much you're spending. So that's one thing called a cash out refinance in regards to debt consolidation. Now, if you don't have any debt to pay off, I'll be honest, it may not make sense as of right now to do what's called do a cash out refinance. What I would recommend you guys doing is taking your equity and using what's a program called a home equity line of credit. So it takes the equity of your home and turns into effectively a line of credit or effectively a credit card. Unfortunately, I can't help with this, but if you go to your local banks, credit unions and things like that, they have those HELOC programs that you only pay for what you owe. So, for example, I have a home equity line of credit of about $30,000 on my Navy Federal, with my condo in Washington right now. At the time I had about $30,000 so in equity. So I took that as a form of a HELOC as a line of credit and actually use that to, consolidate debts, to even do home improvements. And then when rates get better, you can also refinance and reconsolidate all that stuff if you wanted to. But HELOC's a great way, especially if you're looking to use it to invest. So highly recommend doing that. If it's only for home improvements, outside of that, if it's for debt consolidation, we're more than happy to run the numbers and point you in the right direction before you spend too much money. Alrighty, so the next thing I want to talk about is something called the VA Streamline Earl. In this option, we basically just take your current loan and just give you a better interest rate. So I want to talk to you guys about what those numbers really look like and how it breaks down. So let's say, for example, we have a client that's looking to refinance because interest rates are a lot better. We did this a lot back in 2020, and you're probably going to be able to see these opportunities coming in into November into 2023. So if anyone's trying to get you a refinance right now, I highly recommend not doing that until we've hit near the end of the year or into 2023 when rates are a lot better. So in this specific client's case, they have about a 315. They bought this house for about 315. They're going to refinance and have a better rate of about 2.25 from 4.25. Okay. So there's something so the obvious impact by having a lower interest rate is your monthly payment going down. In this case, is about $195 to $200. My rule of thumb for a lot of clients is don't refinance unless you're at least a percent better, or it saves you $150 a month, whichever one is more, right? So or whichever one is less. So if it's $150 a month and it's worth it, then we could do that. Or again, we're expecting rates to come down quite a bit at the end of the year in 2023 and kind of show you these numbers on your specific file. But I wanted to talk about a lot more details in regards to what actually happens within your mortgage payment when you get a lower interest rate, especially at a rate at less than 2.5%. So if you're looking at the screen, there's two bars here, right? This one is the current payment of about $1,956 to include, all the taxes, home insurance, things like that. All we care about is the gray and the blue. That's what we care about because that's principal and interest, okay? Now, with this person refinancing for a better interest rate, this is what this looks like. The immediate thing that you want to recognize is that the gray is a lot less than here. The gray portion, as you can see, is interest. So you notice how much interest you're saving per month? That's a lot of money, guys, because interest is the true cost of the loan. So sure, you're saving $195 a month, but actually the true cost of a loan is actual interest, which in this case is actually $360 a month. Now, why is it 360 and then 195? Well, what's another great thing is that when you have a lower interest rate, you're also, depending on where you're at in your loan, sometimes your principal portion actually goes up. The best way to think about the principal pay down is a forced savings account, which means in this person's case, they're probably going to be saving, it's another probably $160 toward principal, which if you look at it at a home, which is an asset, you're paying down this principal of the loan, which increases your equity, which is like a forced savings account. And it also appreciates. So between these two things, saving almost $360 a month on interest, but also you're also putting like about 100, let's say 60, you have another $100, $160 toward principal. Technically, you're over saving $500 a month if you really think about it that way, because you're putting more toward principal and you're reducing how much you're paying toward interest. And that's the true impact of having a lower interest rate. Now, a lot of people know that, when you have an interest rate, typically you pay more interest in the first 15 years of the loan. Well, when you're at a rate at 2.5% or less, the principal and interest payments are about equal, which means starting from that, you actually start paying more principal in that loan. Yes, it does restart your loan over again, but if you could also take the difference in your savings and add it to your principal. You can take some of it and you'll be right on track. So don't feel like you're restarting the 30-year loan. You can add extra payments to get back on track. So, and again, after some time, you actually will be ahead in your pay down and you'll be saving a lot more interest. So in this person's case, if you look at it over the next 3 years, they're going to save $14,000 in interest, right? It's a lot of money. And also you want to the other thing we want to make sure of is we want to calculate the break-even cost. So there is a cost to refinance just like anything else, which gets rolled into the loan. But we want to look at the cost of doing the refinance versus how you are right now. In this person's case, we ran the numbers as if they're going to be in the house for 5 years. And we ran the numbers to make sure it would make sense. So in this case, it's saying that the new loan, yes, is going to cost higher for a while, but up until like maybe after like the 36 or even on the 40th month, being in the new loan with the lower interest rate is actually more cost effective long term. Now, if this client was only going to be in the house for the next 2 years, I would tell him not to do anything, because the difference between here is about 25 to 35 to almost $30,000. That's a $5,000 difference. So if you're going to sell the house into 2 years, I'm probably going to not advise you to structure your loan this way, but there's other ways to structure your loan where it's such that it does make sense in the first couple of years. So something to look into, something we can run numbers on. So please let us know if you have any questions. You can see the amortization gain means how much you paid in principal. So in this case, over the next 3 years, they're going to be ahead by almost $6,000 already by having a lower interest rate, which is good, which is really, really good, which means you have more equity in your home in the next 3 years than you would have if you kept the same interest rate. So there's a lot that goes into it. Again, something if you're looking to consolidate, at least my rule of thumb is if you're not going to consolidate more than $30,000 to $40,000 of debt, just either do a HELOC or you can just pay on it. To be honest, if you're taking out more, then cash out refinance would make sense. If it's only for home improvements, I just recommend looking into a HELOC. Refinancing for a better rate, I wouldn't do that and wouldn't consider it until the end of the year into 2023 when we're hitting recession-like conditions, which I'll talk about next month in regards to what's going on with market forecast. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and hopefully it gave you some insight in regards to what a refinance does for you. And again, we can help you, in fact, with those refinances. So please let us know if you like to dive into those numbers more. Otherwise, that's all I got, and I'll talk to you guys soon. You got it.